make sure you have investors before you put a deal under contract. This particular investor did the opposite, had to raise $1 million for a deal and did not have that money lined up before putting the deal under contract, and it was a scramble. Of course, he was able to do it, because if he didn't, he wouldn't have been able to do the deal. But it was a character building experience, and he decided to never do that again, to always have investors lined up before finding a deal. So this doesn't mean that you're going to have the hard commitments from them. It doesn't mean you're going to have their money in your bank account. The entire point is to get them to verbally commit to a hypothetical future deal if it were to meet a certain set of return parameters. So essentially what you want to do is you'll want to have conversations with your passive investors or list of passive investors and get them to agree to invest in a deal if you were to come across one. More specifically, things that you can do to prep your investors is to schedule phone calls with them. Let you talk to them on the phone and talk to them about a hypothetical deal. Ask them questions to learn about their financial goals and how they evaluate the success of investments, so you know the type of investment that they would likely invest in and the type of investment that they would not invest in. Talk to them about your team specifically, about your background, your experience, what types of deals you invest in, and why you invest, why you pick multifamily syndication, right? So it's give them the whole rundown of your team and why you pick this particular investment strategy. And then at the end of the conversation, an important follow-up question to ask is, if I find something that meets your financial goals, would you like me to share it with you? If the answer is yes, then they're primed and ready to go. That way, once you find a deal, all you need to do is create your new deal email, send it out to your list of investors. Maybe half of them said yes to this. That way, they already know and are expecting the deal to come, and they're not going through this. You're not going through this entire process once you have the deal under contract, right? You don't have a deal under contract, and while you're trying to perform due diligence and secure financing and get secure investor commitments, you're having to do all these phone calls and asking all these questions, talking about yourself to these investors and getting them to agree, right? You're much more likely to set yourself up for success if you do all this before you find a deal. That way, once you have a deal, you send it out, all the legwork is done. All they need to do is review it, make sure that it meets their financial goals, and they can either decide to invest or not to invest.